Have you ever heard of the term emotional bankruptcy? We often hear about financial bankruptcy, when debts outweigh assets, when someone has spent beyond their means and ends up with nothing left. But what if I told you that the same can happen in our emotional lives? Yes, we can live in such a way that we overspend our energy, our love, our attention, our joy, and one day, we wake up with nothing left to give, nothing left to feel. That is emotional bankruptcy. And it is far more dangerous than financial loss because it steals from the very core of who we are. Think about it. When your bank account is empty, you may feel stressed, but you can always find ways to rebuild, earn more, invest wisely, spend less. But when your emotional account is empty, when your reserves of hope, resilience, patience, and connection run dry, rebuilding feels almost impossible. And that is why emotional planning is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Let me take you on a journey of what emotional bankruptcy looks like. Imagine a woman named Rena. She spends her life giving to her family, her work, her community. She never pauses to refill her cup. She never says no. She thinks rest is laziness and boundaries are selfish. Decades later, when her children are grown and her career slows down, she looks around and feels empty. Not because she didn't love, but because she never saved a piece of herself. She is emotionally bankrupt. Or think of Rahul, a man chasing success. For him, life is about climbing ladders, career, money, status. He sacrifices friendships, overlooks small joys, ignores his health, and forgets about inner peace. When his career hits a plateau, he realizes he has no one to celebrate with, no one to lean on, no memory of true happiness. His wealth is large, but his emotional bank account is in deficit. He too is emotionally bankrupt. These stories aren't rare. In fact, many of us are living dangerously close to emotional bankruptcy without even realizing it. We spend and spend on stress, on toxic relationships, on endless responsibilities, without ever making deposits back into ourselves. So what does poor emotional planning look like? Let's break it down. Poor planning is saying yes when your heart is screaming no. Poor planning is treating self-care as a luxury instead of a daily investment. Poor planning is neglecting relationships that nourish you while feeding ones that drain you. Poor planning is delaying joy, thinking you'll find time for happiness someday that never comes. And like financial bankruptcy, emotional bankruptcy comes with interest. It's not just emptiness you face, it's bitterness, regret, resentment, and disconnection. The cost of poor emotional planning is staggering. Broken families, loneliness in old age, depression that silently eats away at the spirit, and an inability to find meaning when you need it most. Let me give you a different perspective. We plan our finances so meticulously. We create savings accounts, insurance policies, retirement funds. We know the importance of compounding interest, how small investments grow into something life-changing over time. Why don't we apply the same wisdom to our emotional lives? Why don't we invest small acts of love, daily gratitude, moments of connection, time for reflection, so that when life tests us, we have reserves to draw upon? Think about this. If joy were money, how much have you saved? If resilience were gold, how much have you stored? If relationships were stocks, are you investing in the ones that grow or the ones that devalue you? If peace of mind were a retirement fund, are you making deposits or withdrawals every single day? Now here's the hard truth. Emotional bankruptcy doesn't happen overnight. Just like financial ruin, it creeps in slowly. It begins when we ignore ourselves for the sake of busyness. When we silence our pain, telling ourselves to just push through. When we fail to pause and notice the small wonders that bring balance to our hearts. Day by day, we drain our emotional savings until one day, suddenly, we are overdrawn. So, how do we avoid this? How do we make sure that when we arrive at the later stages of life, We are not broken spirit. The first step is awareness. Begin to look at your life as an emotional balance sheet. Ask yourself, what am I depositing today? What am I withdrawing? Deposits are acts that strengthen your soul. Prayer, meditation, laughter with friends, gratitude journaling, meaningful work, quality time with loved ones. Withdrawals are stress, negativity, overcommitment, neglect, resentment. Balance them daily, just like finances. The second step is boundaries. Boundaries are like budgets. Without a budget, money slips through your fingers. Without boundaries, your energy leaks into every demand and expectation placed on you. Boundaries protect your emotional assets. They allow you to say, I cannot give here, because I must preserve strength for what truly matters. The third step is purpose. People who have a clear sense of purpose rarely go bankrupt emotionally because their deposits outweigh their withdrawals. Every act of service, every sacrifice feels like an investment in something greater, not a loss. Purpose multiplies emotional wealth. It is the compound interest of the soul. And finally, the fourth step is joy. Joy is not a luxury. It is fuel. Just as you cannot keep earning money without ever spending, you cannot keep giving without ever receiving joy. Dance, laugh, travel, taste good food, watch sunsets, play with children. These are not distractions. These are deposits in your emotional savings account. Let me ask you, what is your retirement plan for your emotions? Will you reach old age wealthy in memories, rich in love, abundant in inner peace? Or will you reach it exhausted, bitter, bankrupt in spirit? The choice is not decided by fate. It is decided by how you plan today. I want you to imagine your life as a ledger. On one side, you see everything you've invested, the kindness you've shown, the forgiveness you've offered, the resilience you've built, the laughter you've shared, the gratitude you've practiced. On the other side, you see everything you've spent, sleepless nights, toxic arguments, endless self-doubt, overcommitment, neglect of your own heart. Which side is heavier right now? If you feel a deficit, do not despair. It is never too late to start making deposits. Emotional wealth, like financial wealth, grows with consistency, not perfection. Start small. A call to a friend, a walk in nature, a moment of stillness, a prayer whispered from the heart. These are coins of the soul, and with time, they add up. Let me share a truth that often goes unnoticed. Financial bankruptcy can sometimes be reversed. Emotional bankruptcy, however, if left unchecked, can steal entire decades of your life. It can leave you with regret on your deathbed, with the haunting thought, I lived, but I never felt alive. And that is a debt too heavy for any soul to carry. So today, I invite you, no, I urge you, to start your emotional retirement plan. Save joy like you would save money. Invest in love like you would invest in stocks. Protect your peace like you would protect gold. Because one day, when your body slows down and your responsibilities fade, it will not be your financial wealth that keeps you alive inside. It will be your emotional wealth. Emotional bankruptcy is the cost of poor planning, but emotional abundance is the reward of wise daily choices. Which future are you building? The answer begins right now, with this very moment, with the decision to care for your heart as much as you care for your bank account. So let's ask again, what is in your emotional bank today? And what will you deposit before the day ends?